Hello. So doing a little video here on just a little bit about the subject of what I do. So, because I do quite a few different things treatment-wise, and just like to explain it. So obviously I'm an acupuncturist. I used to be a drug and alcohol substance misuse worker. So I worked with drug and alcohol clients, so I can, I have knowledge about different chemicals in the body, different addictions and drug taking, and what effects they have on the body. This is things, so I used to work with crack and heroin addiction and this is how I got into acupuncture, actually. I did auricular acupuncture with them, and I realised how wonderfully it worked, actually, which got me into it. And I thought, I was a bit sick of some of the things I had to do, and I could see it wasn't working so well. And this seemed to, especially crack addicts, help them sleep and help them eat proper food. They used to go and have some food afterwards, which they never did, always chocolate. So that's how I got into that. And then so I do acupuncture. And then along the way, I studied CBT and I did NLP, lots of coaching courses, things like that, because I discovered really that underneath everybody's physical conditions, it was an emotional condition of feeling that they didn't feel good enough somewhere along the line. So I realised that I would do some training along the emotional side. So I went through this, and then I went through a bit of an awakening myself. So I used a lot of these techniques, and I had some therapy. And that's on another video, my story. And then so it was a combination of that. And then going through NLP, I started looking into shamanic work. Well, number one, I looked into research in cancer patients. I found liver flushing, breast cancer patients, and then right shoulder pain, and I got into liver flushing from that and realised about liver chi stagnation, depression, anxiety. Then that led on to plum stone throat, not being able to speak, and then post-traumatic stress. So there's sort of all these layers, and then I went in and I understood, lost my train of thought, NLP, and NLP is about changing the timeline, going back to the trauma or the event, and sort of slightly changing it. It worked to a certain degree, but I didn't like the effect of sort of changing what happened, and because I'm very sensitive to lies and trust issues, as this is deeply in my trauma. So I just investigated, and shamanic healing went in, and it let you re-experience it fully, which with someone with rape, try not to say victim, but this is, I'm talking about myself here, or survivor, as we may like to call it. This is quite hard to go back into, but actually it's the way to heal it. And so with this techniques, I started studying PTSD, and it came up with veterans, actually, complex and extreme PTSD, trauma. So I'm explaining all of this because there is not one word to explain what I do, because now with this experience, and then with the PTSD, it was microdosing magic mushrooms, and I got into truffles, then microdosing truffles, and now I do full doses and one-on-one with patients or small groups of people. But this is how I got into the combination and then of what I do. So, and now I do sound healing as well. So I feel like I can, and I had a near-death experience. When I came down, I had these gifts and abilities after I healed certain things, that I can astral travel to somebody's soul. I can pick up the wounds within the soul, and I can send the sound that's needed, the vibrational sound that's needed to heal the wound. I do this because this is how it feels when I'm in there. I have my eyes closed and I'm connected to the person, and I make sounds, and I will do different ones. So it sounds a lot like drilling, funny enough, especially it's in the lower jaw, wound issues. And then when it's higher, and I will do a session for about an hour. And I can do this one-on-one with somebody with me. Actually, it has a good effect when somebody's in their house, because, and the reason because of this is because they're in their house, your house, anybody's house, is a frequency manifestation of your heart and your soul. So when you're in your home and I come and do this work, I can connect, I can actually pick up and visualize what room you're in and if there's any low frequency in the space. So I do house clearing as well. And so when I'm doing this work and I connected to you, I can sometimes sense, okay, I need to clear this corner. I'm doing this because this is what I do when I clear, and then I can sense where the window and the doors are. And then I can clear out the space. Like, for example, I can help with pregnancies as well. If someone has to go into hospital, I've done this before to help with the birth. So I can open up the chakra, especially the solar plexus here, to help the uterus give birth. Anything to do with menopause issues and blood and uterus is to do with the liver. And it's the block in the liver, the anger. We open this up, this chakra here. It again opens the throat, but it also opens down. So actually the solar plexus in the middle, that is the earth point that's blocked. It's going into a different subject there. But so I can do this as well. So it's very hard for me to explain in one label, and I hate labels anyway. So I just say I'm Rowena and word of mouth, you know, people get to know what I'm doing. But this is what I do. So it's soul surgery, you know, and I can also pick up if you don't even know that you have trauma. So I was not even aware of my trauma for 35 years. All right, so there's no embarrassment. If you have forgotten a trauma, or if you're having a physical condition or you're having PTSD symptoms, you may have a trauma that's coming back, but you are not able, or you're not in a safe environment to have this memory come back to you. And this is your own body, your ego is keeping you safe. So I don't like the word ego, but sometimes it gets a bit of a bashing ego. All right, now sometimes we have these split personality ego layers because we haven't got the space to bring back the soul whole. So it's that there's a space in there that's come up with the personality you've created until there's time for this ready to come through. And then when you have to say goodbye to that person, that's quite painful at the same time as well, because I've just done another layer of that myself. But so and this can be quite hard, and it's about shame, embarrassment, who am I, identity, what the hell's going on in my life, psychosis, you know, craziness, sanity. All of this can go through your head when you're going through these things. So if you're having the symptoms of this, or you know somebody of this, I can also help, and because the soul will communicate to me through the body, and I will be able to connect. This is the higher self, connect and explain what is happening. And I will ask if, and I can use a good judgment. Sometimes someone's not quite ready to hear the full reason. If it's something to do with an abuse issue or rape issue, and that they're not in the safe space to express it properly, I say, if you know, if they're still in an unhealthy relationship, for example, I can send healing to the soul and explain that there is some trauma in there, and the person, I have a clinic that people can come and stay with me, and then I can help process that if it's very deep and the person needs to be with me. This is done. I try not to tell people what to do. I'm sort of going a bit like this at the minute, because I do tend to listen to what that soul needs. But again, if it normally tells me, or spirit will tell me if it's the right time. I'm talking about something if it's a deep wound there, but I do have a space where people, because there's a lot of memories that people are coming back of quite horrific things. I mean, I've had hangings and killings, and I mean, think what happened to humanity in the war times, and there was a lot of rape and pillage and abuse, and you know, hangings. I mean, I had a few hangings in a past lives myself and things like this. So it sounds a bit grim, but sometimes it's okay for me just to bring it all out, what I can feel that's in the soul that's ready, but it will let me know if it's ready. And also the other person can communicate with me as well. So, but this is different layers of what I do, and I'm just doing this video to share and explain, because it's quite hard to explain and label. You can't really go to a college to pick this up. It's sort of just experience and life learning. And now I'm connected to High Council and you know, Galactic Federation, which is sort of government systems which are up in the galaxy and things like that, because of the work now. And now I understand that actually, like a few of us know now, that we chose to come down onto Earth to go through these experiences, then to support people on this time on Earth. Which, if someone had told me that a year or so ago, I'd be like, oh, you know, but you know, it's what it is, and it makes sense to me now. So and other people, it will make sense to as well. So this is, we're all still awakening. You see, we're all still awakening as divine timing happens and as it's safe. You know, this information of mine, if I was giving it all back 7 years ago, all bang at once, then you die, wouldn't you? You just die. And so this is actually the soul saving itself to keep alive. So this is the kind of work I do. I can do group sessions as well, group healing, and ancestral lineage and Akashic records. I don't tend to do readings. I don't mind. I tend to focus more on myself doing a course of healing. So I know my purpose is to get as many souls together from their fractured parts as possible, and the souls that then can help another layer of people coming through for this awakening. So that's my purpose. So I try and stick to that alignment, and I can do a reading, but generally the soul will start saying to me, can you do something to heal me? And then if I do one healing, it's a bit like starting a course of antibiotics. One doesn't really go too far. I can in emergency, actually, if there's a suicide or panic attack or cardiac arrest. A couple of people I've called where they're going to call an ambulance, and I can make sure it's a clearing or the attachment or that. So stuff like that I can do quite quickly, or house clearing and things like that. But when it's to do with soul surgery and soul retrievals, I tend to do a course to make sure we understand forgiveness and self-love, so that soul stays and doesn't re-trauma, because there is a spiritual sort of war. So the dark is quite strong at the minute as well. So I hope that helps. Do send me any emails or questions if you've got any questions about how I've explained what I do, but there's a little mixture of things in there. Oh, one more thing, I can work with young children as well. So I have got my SEN and my Ofsted registration just pending. It should be coming. Everything's a bit slow at the minute, but to do family healing as well. And I believe that children that have special needs and autism and different layers are very spiritually connected, and they have been misdiagnosed again in the system, and with different chemicals. And often, actually, instead of treating the child, if you just treat the parent, the child will heal, because they are carrying the family trauma, if that makes sense. So I had this with my, yeah, they're taking the pressure, bless them. And so I can do a lot of work with children, which is magic. Yeah, without treating the child directly too much anyway. That's it. Okay, so yeah, speak soon. I hope that helps. Bye.